They're cold, the mornings in the jungle. The wind whips in off the coast, blowing with it the elusive promise of a new life on the other side of the channel. But the bulldozers are ready, and there's the threat of change in the air. Many people spend the nights trying to cross, so mornings are usually quiet. But not this morning. Volunteers are trying to make as much noise as possible.
We are here this morning trying to make sure that the maximum number of people possible are up out of their shelters, to give a real idea of the number of people who are actually in the southern part of the camp.
This morning, a magistrate will visit the camp to decide whether to give the go-ahead to the authorities who want to dismantle it. Refugee charities say they've drastically underestimated the numbers.
We know that there are over 300 unaccompanied children in this southern part of the camp alone. And if the eviction starts to go ahead and the bulldozers arrive and our volunteers who work with the children here every day, if they lose track of them, then they're effectively lost in the system. We don't know what will happen to them.
The magistrate arrives and is treated to a chaotic guided tour of the jungle's mud-sodden lanes. At issue is whether the authorities have the capacity to accommodate all these people.
Well, there's a lot of commotion here as the judge has come to visit the camp. Her purpose, really, is to check the numbers.
The authorities want to move the inhabitants of the jungle into this fenced-off area. But campaigners have carried out a census in the camp, and they say that the population is 3 times the official estimate. Plus, most people don't seem to like the look of these shipping containers.
What will you do if they bulldoze this camp?
Till now, I don't know what I have to go, what I'm gonna do.
But they say that you could live in these containers over here. You don't want to do that?
If I live in containers, that means I'm gonna make asylum in France.
And you don't want to do that?
For sure, yeah.
Why not?
Because as I told you, France, they are not believe that we are in danger, that we are in war, and they don't believe our case, they don't believe our problems.
And you think that Britain will be more sympathetic?
I guess so, and I believe in that.
Rightly or wrongly, almost everyone here thinks life would be better in Britain than in France. Most have little or no connection to the UK, but some do, and they're not encouraged by the magistrate's visit.
What do you think will happen now?
Well, I think the jungle will finish.
You think the jungle will finish?
Yeah, because the body language we saw, there was no reaction or nothing positive about them.
From her body language you could tell, you think?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do now?
I don't know. Maybe probably on a street or something.
Go on the street?
Yeah, but there's no other choices.
Where are you from?
Afghanistan. Yeah.
You speak very good English.
Yeah, I was a translator in Afghanistan.
Really?
Yeah.
Who were you translating for?
With the British Army.
With the British Army?
Yeah.
It might seem perverse for people to be so attached to this mud and tarpaulin settlement on Europe's northern edge. But there is a real sense of community in the jungle. There are English lessons in the warmth of a heated classroom. There's a library called perhaps inevitably Jungle Books, where people while away the hours in between attempts to cross the channel. There are restaurants and barber shops, even a theatre housed in a dome-shaped tent, which has become the jungle's unofficial town hall.
It's never been our argument that this jungle should remain. We've been here for 5 months and have always said that the conditions here are not worthy of any human being. You know, the disease here, the mental illness we're seeing, it's a treacherous place. But at the same time, the decision to try and evict so many people with such a short amount of time for them to find somewhere else to go is sort of crazy.
Midway through the afternoon, news comes from the courthouse. The magistrate has postponed her decision. The inhabitants of the camp are in limbo.
Well, the news from the court is just about filtering through here now. It's a reprieve, but probably only a temporary one. Most of the people who live here agree that conditions are far from ideal, but there's a lot of resistance to leaving, not only because of the sense of community that's built up here, but also because doing so would take them one step further away from their goal.
They've travelled thousands of miles to get this far, often at great danger and expense. They're not about to give up now.
Where are you going? What were you trying to do?
Train London. I'm go you.
Train to London.
Yeah, London. You.
Day in, day out, they hide themselves in the backs of lorries, trying to get across. Most of the time, they get caught. It's a little over an hour's journey from here to Lord's Cricket Ground. These people are so close, and yet the prospect of attaining their goal seems to slip further and further into the distance, where the bulldozers are waiting.